Hey everybody, it's Brooke. I'm going to cover up our spring garden book with the book pages that I made for it. If you'd like to do that with me, come on back. So this is, I think, part 4 of my spring garden journal series where we're making a rounded floating spine journal out of a kit in my Etsy shop called Spring Garden, and I made it from a childcraft book, the covers anyway, of a childcraft book because I liked the size. Wasn't crazy about the covers, so we went ahead and put our spine in with our little bands in there. We installed it as the rounded spine with the Tim Holtz fabric, and today I am going to cover the covers. So these covers are available in the kit called My Spring Garden, again, listed down below. A lot of the things I'm using in the journal are parts of the kit that are exclusive to my Facebook group members. If you're not a member yet, I'll link the group up there. Come on over and join us. We have a lot of fun, and you get cool free stuff every week. I like to say it's on Friday, but that's not necessarily true. Close to Friday. At any rate, so now I am going to cover this book with these printables. I printed them on fairly thin paper because I find it adheres a little better, and I'm just making some marks where I think I want to tear it. I'm trying to get the book plate kind of in the middle. It's going to have to be further over towards this edge because I don't want to lose all the fabric, and I don't want it to be crazy close to the edge. I think that'll be good, and it's closer to the top than it is to the bottom, but I'm making sure that I have enough paper to fold around to the back. And we'll just trim some off the side or tear it off. Oops, got a little rip, but we can fix that. And I think I'll also tear some off this side. I didn't really want to lose that tape, but I don't want to go right up to the edge of the book board either. I want to save some of the fabric. So let's go ahead and tear that. See, should probably put my glasses on. See if we can get that relatively straight. I don't think I want to go that far. Maybe this far. Okay, that should be straight. Tear that off. And what I did it off camera so you didn't have to listen to the noise, was I took my sanding block and I just scuffed up all of the book cover that was showing. Then you need to take a damp baby wipe or a damp paper towel and just wipe that dust off. That way it's ready to take our glue. Normally I would use Mod Podge, but it would appear that yes, I have glued the lid on my Mod Podge. Oh, that's the dust that has come off these burnt orange book covers, so that's all good. Let that dry for a second while we're figuring out where this goes. I think that's going to look so great. Yep. Okay, so how do I want to do this? Let's go ahead and glue it, and then we'll work on those folds. Got it about where I want it. Scoot it up a little bit. So you can see I just made some marks to line it up, and that's where we're going to fold it around to the other side. Is that straight? I think that's straight. So let's go ahead and put on, I'm going to use my matte medium because I have not glued the lid on this one. And I've got my little paper plate. I will just squeeze some of this out. And I use an inkjet printer, so it is not color fast. Usually it goes pretty well and does not run. So let's hope for the best. I also have a piece of wax paper down on my desk because this gets kind of messy. Go right there. Make sure to get a nice even coat on the fabric too. That medium works on everything. And before I get too crazy pressing this down, let's make sure I'm laying it down pretty lightly. Making sure we're getting it straight and where we want it. It's not straight, Brooke. That's more straight. Is that more straight? Yes, I think so. Okay, and then we'll just smooth it down. you have a little bit of an opportunity to wiggle it before you press it down. Once you press it down, you're kind of committed. I'll take my tool and burnish that. Oh, I love how that looks. This is actually a vintage notebook cover that I scanned. That was scanned. I take that back. It was not me. We'll just get that down like that. And we'll glue those edges when we get to the other side. Make sure we're working out any little air bubbles that might want to show up. You might get one or two, and it's just fine. Okay, I'll move this out of the way. Turn this over. Going to move over to this side of the wax paper to try to keep out of the stickiness. I have it taped down. That might not have been my best plan. Hold on. Let's see if we can get that tape up. I was just trying to keep it from sliding around while I was recording. But now I want to slide it over. So let's see if we can do that. The best laid plans and all. Wow, I taped it down real good. There we go. Okay, so now I think you can see. So I'm going to kind of work these edges, run my thumb, make sure you get a nice smooth edge. It did tear there, but I was going to put book corners on it, so it's okay. We will not panic. I'll let you know when it's time to panic. It's not now. And just press that right up against the book board to get a good, clean, tight fold. Okay. And then I think what I will do, I know what I will do. I've got to stop saying I think. Sorry, guys. I'll just go ahead and put a little bit of matte medium on those edges. Oh, before I wrap that around, I want to miter. So I'm going to just cut not all the way up to the corner, but close to the corner, so we can get it wrapped around the edge. And then that wasn't very neat. Should have done that before I started gluing. So let's go ahead and get that folded up and around. Pull it nice and snug, but not so hard that you tear the paper. I want to make sure that that is nice and tight. And we'll miter the other corner before we go slapping glue on things. So again, I'm just taking a little rectangle, not all the way up to the corner, but fairly close. Just to get rid of the bulk of that paper. Hopefully my head is not up in your grill. Okay, there we go. And we haven't glued it here yet, so that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and put a little more matte medium right along that edge, kind of getting the paper and the book. And just start rolling that around, using my finger to press up against the edge of the book. The book cover is fairly thick, so I want to make sure I'm getting a nice sharp coverage on there. Using my bone folder, I'll use it down here too. Looking good, looking good. Got a little wrinkle. We'll just smoosh that out. It'll be good. Now I will take my matte medium and put it under there. And that will get that glued down. And spread it, flatten that paper down. Use my finger. Oop, let's wipe that off. That's a mess. I use all the tools for this, including my finger tools. Just wipe that excess off and smear it right in there. A little extra glue won't hurt. Wipe off my fingers before I go any further. Go ahead and... I kind of like to work from side to side to make sure that we're working the paper real well and not getting any bubbles. So I'll put more matte medium along that edge. And then just kind of rolling it and pulling it. Getting it right around. Not so hard that I'm tearing the paper. Just getting it pressed down in there. Just smearing the excess around. It's fine. It dries, well, matte, as its name suggests. And this whole area will be covered with our end paper once we get our spine in. We got some dirt accumulating here. Must have been dirt from the book cover. It's a pretty old book. Just wipe that off. That's fine. And now we'll do this edge. So I want to kind of take this where it tore, kind of tuck it in, wrap it around. And again, I don't have any glue on yet. I'm just getting the paper ready and getting my creases in place so that when I go to glue, it'll know where to, I'll know where, the paper will know, everyone will know where it needs to be. Just kind of pinch that corner in. Okay, and that looks great. So we'll go ahead and put matte medium along that edge of the book and on the paper and all the way through there. And that is going to be good and stuck. It will not be going anywhere. Work that edge with your finger. I mean the corner, not the edge. The edge of the corner. Is that a thing? It should be a thing. And there, I pretty much repaired our little tear there. So I would not necessarily have to put book corners on if I didn't want to. Just picked up a little more matte medium. Kind of reinforcing that little tear where I got all crazy like. And again, I'm going to wipe off my finger. And where's my scraper tool? Get that all pressed down. Make sure those corners are nice and burnished. And I think I'll just put another little coat right here, and we'll have to wait for that to dry before we turn it back over. That's just sealing it in nice and tight. Go down there, go across there, make sure that paper is sealed. So now I'm just gonna let it sit for a minute, and then I'll come back and we'll do the front. Actually, you know what? I lied. I lied again. Let's go ahead and turn it over. Let's live on the edge and turn it over. We're getting a little bit of wrinklage right where the fabric ends, but I think I'm okay with that. Oh, it looks way worse on camera than it does in real life. But I'm going to go ahead and put another coat, or not another coat, a first coat on top of this. Making sure to get the edges of the book. Trying not to leave too many brush marks. Excellent. It does not appear to be running. My luck has held. So now I will just let this sit and come back and we'll do the back cover exactly the same way. All right then, this is reasonably dry enough to move ahead, I guess. So I now have the back cover and it's got this little bird sketch on it, and I want to get the whole bird sketch on our cover, kind of down towards the left. So that looks pretty good. So I'll go ahead and, oh, nope, it can't go down that low because we won't have enough at the top to wrap around. He's going to have to go a little bit higher. Problem with an 8.5 by 11 printer and a big 10-inch book. But it's just an opportunity, that's all. So I'm going to mark this. Try not to tear the paper this time. Oh, don't move it. Okay, get that down there so I can see where to fold it. And it did end up being quite ridged as it dried. That place where the fabric ends and the paper goes over it is pretty noticeable. So I think I'm going to put some trim on the front, which probably means I'll put trim on the back as well. And that is okay. I like the grungy look of the journal with some soft lace or something like that. I like that juxtaposition. And I think, let's see, try to get those about the same width, the fabric on either side. That looks like it's about the right place to me. Get that a fold. Move this. Still kind of damp, but I think we're okay to go ahead. And I'll take my, oh, here's my ruler on the other side. Wrong place. Try to get that relatively straight. Tear that. Now I'm going to need some more matte medium. Let's go ahead and get that folded a little bit more. Just want to make sure I can see those marks very clearly before I go to gluing. There we go. Okay. Little better defined, that's all. And put out some more matte medium. Put the lid on without gluing it on, Brooke. What a concept. The wax paper is crazy making. It slides all over the place. But it's a whole lot easier to clean up with the wax paper there. And I have noticed that the color on the book is running a little bit. Okay, so then we will not press it down till we're sure. Straighten that up a little bit. Yep, that looks right. Give that a good burnish. Get my little scraper tool. We lost a little teeny tip of his tail, but that's okay. I wanted him right on the edge anyway. Seal that up against the fabric. Looks like we need a little bit more right at the top. You want to make sure you've got good contact so that you don't get air bubbles. Whoop. Everything is sticking to everything now. Okay, get that pressed down. Okay, we can flip this over. Try to use this side now where we don't have glue. Oh, that's not straight at all, is it? Well, hey. Get my bone folder. And it's kind of like wrapping a gift. Fold this up that way. Let's go ahead and miter those corners before we put any glue on. That will help. So again, it's just taking a little bit out there and a little bit out from there, but not going all the way up to the corner. You want a little bit of paper right there, right where the book corner is, to wrap around. Do the same thing up here. Get that wrapped. Oop, we had some glue seep out. That is okay. Okay, so we just, it's kind of an awkward angle. There we go. And then we can start gluing these down. So again, I want to do the edges first. Get that on the paper and on the edge of the book. Start kind of pulling it and wrapping it. Ooh, it was easier when the wax paper was taped down. Just get that pulled and pressed. There we go, nice. Give it a little burnish. Okay, we'll do the other side. Trying to make sure I'm not putting stuff in glue. Well, I got that really uneven between the top and the bottom. But it is not a problem. Pulling it nice and tight. Rolling it up some. Using my bone folder. And that is down good and snug. Excellent. Okay, and then we'll do the last side. Whoopsie. Okay, that other piece of masking tape is sticking to everything. Yikes. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, better wipe that up before I go putting things in it. Okay, so we'll take our matte medium, put it along the edge of our book, put it on our paper. And then I'm just going to roll those corners in a little bit. And roll that over, pull it and roll it and pull it. Okay, here's my bone folder. Get everything pushed in there nice and neat. There we go. Those are just wrapped up like a little package. Can you see that? And that gap right there is just fine because it's all going to be covered up with our end paper. And our corners are nice and neat. If we put book corners on it, it's good to go. But I think what I will do is just use my finger and put a little bit of matte medium on there to seal it up. Make it lie flat in case we don't put on book corners. Do the same thing over there. Just kind of smooshing that in. Excellent. Looking good. So I will do the same thing now. I'm going to let it dry on this side for a little bit, and then I'll turn it over and put matte medium all over that side and let that dry, and I'll come back. But look at the difference now between this color and this color. That's what the matte medium does. So you're getting that real deep, rich red color, well, more like a burnt red, I guess, that an old file folder would be that you have on the original. I think that looks so cool. So hold on, I'll let this dry for a little bit and we'll come back and put on that trim. Okay, I am back and look at our beautiful cover. I ended up putting 3 coats of matte medium on it and let it dry in between. Then I sprayed it with spray finish, let it dry, sanded it, and did that 4 times. I wanted to make sure this was really good and sealed because as a garden journal, it could take some abuse. My garden did run a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but I kind of like it. I sanded it down a little bit in there, and it just makes it look more worn and old. I don't know. I like how it came out. So that's pretty cool. And that is all the cover pretty much done, although I did decide, because this ridge, as the paper dried, this ridge of the fabric got more apparent. Oh, there you can see it right there. And I'm not a huge fan of that. So I found this vintage cotton trim that I have, and I think that would look beautiful right there. As I said, kind of the juxtaposition between the sort of, you know, grungy part of the garden and this beautiful vintagey lace, I think is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. I'm going to wrap it around to the inside. Let's see how the Fabri-Tac is feeling. Get that. Is that where I want it? Let's decide where we want it before we go gluing madly. I think I just want to cover that ridge. I still want our fabric to show. Yep, I think I like it right there. Okay, good. Now I'm losing my other little piece of tape. Darn it. Oh well, what are you going to do? So I'm just going to put some here. I am going to smooth this out. Don't want big glue bloppies coming through. And here's my palette knife that I use for Fabri-Tac. Just smooth that down. Spread it out. Make sure our lace is good and glued. And then we can just lay that down, leaving some at the top and the bottom. Where's my spatula to press that down? I did not prepare, did I? Shockaroo. Eh. Where is my silicone spatula? It's hiding. quick, before the glue dries. I need it. I need it. Well, I guess I'm going to have to use my finger. There you go. Straighten that out. Oh, I like that a lot. Yep. And I'm going to put some on the back as well. So let's go ahead and turn it around and do that. Cut off another length. This is all I have left of this trim, and it makes me sad. Cut off a little excess. Get that out of the way of the glue. Broken the glue. And here we go. Do the same thing. For some reason, the ridge is not nearly as visible on the back, and I don't really know why. But in for a penny, in for a pound, and I like how it looks. So let's just cover it up. So go ahead and smooth that out. And try to get it about the same distance from the spine as we did the other one. Maybe a little bit more that way. Oh, and I like that with the bird. Yep. Happy with that decision. Scoot it over a little bit. Press it down. Make sure it's grabbing real well. That makes me happy. Yep, that was a good choice. And we can flip it over and bring it to the inside, just so that we can cover it up. I think I would prefer that to be covered rather than just cut off at the edge of the book board. I think it might be a little more secure. So I'm putting some glue right along the edge of the book board. And I'm going to wrap that around, pull it pretty tight, and get that to catch. Do the same on this side. I am taking more care about durability because being a garden journal, it really is meant for some heavy-duty use. And so that is why I'm wrapping it around. That's why I've done a lot of the things I've done the way I have. Okay, well, just make sure that's grabbing. Oh, now I have fabric tack on my fingers. Gross. Do the same at the top. Oh, I'm out of frame. I'm so sorry. I bet I have been the whole time. What a jerk. Just going right along the edge of that book board. Wrapping our lace. Pressing it down. Get it to catch. Whoops. Dropping the book. You know, the usual. What I usually do. There, that's catching now. And we'll do this last little bit right here. Well, we will if I can get the fabric tack flowing. Here we go. Pull that around. Make sure it's still looking good front and back, which it does. And then we can just give it a little glue in here. I don't think I need quite that much, now do I? So I will save that beautiful snippet. Same on this side. And this will again get covered with the end papers. Let's spread that out with our glue palette knife. There we go. And repeating that again. Trying to not get fabric tack everywhere. Oh, and I have to show you guys something that cracked me up. I don't do the end papers until after I put my spine in, you know, my signatures. Totally up to you. If you want to see the fabric that you're sewing your signatures into, you can do it afterwards. It's just a judgment call. Not even a judgment call, it's just taste. You know, if you put your end papers down now, then when you go to glue your spine in, those edges will show. If you glue the spine in first, then put your end papers down, it'll cover it up. So I've just made the decision to put my spine in first and then glue down the end papers. Does that make any sense? Am I just blah blah blahing? Quite possibly. Okay, so we'll get those excess pieces off. Definitely save those. some glue down there. Come on, Fabri-Tac. Okay, I'm going to set it on its side, but over some scrap paper, in case it goes volcanoing out all over the place. Get that pressed down in there. And then a little bit right here, and that will take care of our beautiful lace edging, which I'm very happy about. That was a happy accident. Great. Let me put the cap on the Fabri-Tac so we don't have an accident, a Fabri-Tac accident. Nobody wants that. I don't want to mess with it too much. So there is our cover. Oh, you guys, I just love it. I'm really happy with that lace. Love how it looks. It looks old-fashioned and grungy, and that's awesome. So what I did while I was waiting for everything to dry was I pulled out my book corners, which I have here. These are Tim Holtz book corners. And again, I will wait and put those on after I've got the end papers in. So the book corners and the end papers will come after we put the spine in, which this time I'm not kidding. It really is the next video. But I went to pull out end papers, and I thought, oh, I'm going to look through my Tim Holtz backdrops because I really like the weight of them. Look what I found. Can you see that pattern? I apparently found the same end paper that Tim Holtz used because I found it at the graphics fairy and used it in the kit. Very similar to this, and that made me laugh. I mean, it's the same pattern. The color, though, is even similar. So that made me laugh. So that is definitely a runner for one of the end papers. I love this one with the kind of painted board look. I think that really goes well. And then this music paper that says Flora on it, I think is beautiful. So I'm not sure which ones we'll use, but they're sized almost perfectly to go in here and be our end pages. Need to take some off the top or the bottom. But the weight of the paper is lovely, and it won't show our lace or our fabric over here. We won't get the ridges like we did on the front cover. So those are the ones I picked out. I'm going to set this aside and let it dry. And I promise in the next video, we're going to go ahead and bind our signatures in and get our floating spine attached. So I want to thank you so much again for coming to hang out with me. I hope you're making one of these. It's very fun. And I will talk to you guys again really soon. Thanks. Bye.